And now, broadcasting from Titletown, USA, here's Joe Simon.
Attention, bonus session, bonus session. We had Scott White join us and recently, and he was talking all things annuities. He's a great tactician and technician when we do our planning in that area, and we were blessed to have him. But guess what? There's more interest in other things that we never got to in the conversation. So this is going to fly by quick. We're going to talk about QLACs, and we're going to talk about hybrid annuities. So, entering again live from Manhattan, it's Scott White. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me back. I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's get right at it. Let's talk about this thing called hybrid annuities. What is it, and why should we know more about it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a shift in the way that clients can plan for long-term care. Long-term care, I think, is vital as an asset protection tool. There's a phrase out there: if you don't allocate any money to your LTC plan, you're allocating all your money to your LTC plan. They can really decimate portfolios if you have an event like that. And it's the whole shift in mindset to these hybrid annuities. It's like a asset based long term care plan where instead of paying an annual premium, a $3,000 or $5,000 a year premium for this monthly benefit, if you go on claim, what an annuity with long-term care benefit does is it allows you to put a large deposit on the carrier's books, the insurance carrier's books, and it gives you a long-term care benefit inside that policy. And the benefit there is you're not paying this ongoing premium. The money that you've put into this annuity with long-term care plan is earning interest, so you're not necessarily spending any money. And if you don't have a long-term care event, your money's still there. It's live and it's earning money.
So, what I like to say about that, Scott, is it's kind of like the difference between term life insurance and permanent life insurance. There's a cash buildup, and before you die, talking the life insurance term here for just a second, you have access to cash value or cash accumulation. And that's really what Scott just said about these hybrid types of long term care slash annuity or asset based long term care types of plans. People get frustrated with the old fashioned vanilla type plans. My mother has one of those and it's been fantastic for her, but everybody likes more than just vanilla ice cream. This is another flavor to look at and to test out and to compare. So the question that I have for you, Scott, is when's the perfect age? When is that age zone that somebody should really be considering something like this for their long-term care costs concerns?
Sure. So average purchaser is about 67. Certainly, the younger, the better leverage that you'll get. So I talked earlier about $100,000 deposit, and as an example, there is leverage in the policy for long term care expenses, and it depends on your age and your gender and some of these health questions that they ask you when they're looking to issue a policy like this. But the healthier you are, the younger that you are, the better leverage that you'll get. So the 65-year-old might see, $200,000 worth in long-term care benefits on a 100K deposit, whereas a 50-year-old might see 275. So, of course, don't quote me on these numbers. We got to run the illustration, but that's just an example on what purchasing sooner does. Now I'm 44. I don't have a long-term care policy, but it's something to start thinking about. And I think if you're starting to think about it when you're still healthy at age 60 or so, you haven't missed the boat. There's still some great benefits you can get into your 60s and maybe even into your late 60s and early 70s if you're in good health.
Yeah, now that we're on this subject for just a second, we're going to quickly go to QLAX in just a second. But I guess a wrap up thought on that one thing today is so the kids of the parents, the 44-year-olds, the 54-year-olds who have parents that are in their late 70s, 80s, even 90s. Um, one of the things that you may want to consider if your parents are in that late 60s to 70s, late 70s, even just to see the numbers. We've done this a couple times now, and it's interesting. Is to have the kids of the family pool their monies together to pour into something like this on mom or on dad, especially if they're a widow or widower. because inevitably it's going to come back to you at some point anyway when mom or dad have these costs that are insurmountable in some cases. It's just another thought to look at on the table. It might not be a fit for you, but it's worth looking at and knowing those numbers. The insurance idea is pennies for dollars, and perhaps in anything, in any kind of insurance, it's pennies for dollars. That's what we hire the insurance company to do, to create that financial leverage for us, to give us some relief. So then it's just a matter of what does it cost going in, that premium, that dollar amount going in. And there's so much more we can say about that. There's the Secure Act 2.0 and some ways in which we can use qualified dollars in long-term care, asset based long-term care today. We're not going to get into that today, but you need to know about that. If your CPA isn't talking to you about that, ask them, or ask your advisor about what they know about that. So we're going to quickly move on. We talked about the Secure Act 2.0. And Scott, there's something called a QLAC. Tell us what that stands for. Tell us the age zone that's in. And I think it fits perfectly with this conversation today.
Yeah, so QLAC stands for Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. They've been around for longer than a lot of people realize, since about 2013, but they were severely underutilized because of the limitations that the IRS put on them. It used to be you could only deposit 125,000 or 25% of your qualified assets, whichever was lesser, and so it created a lot of limitations. But generally, what they're used for is they're a way to defer part of your IRA balance. Today it's up to 210,000, so a lot higher than our original 125. So delay up to 210,000 of your IRA balance all the way out to age 85 to save on some taxes and to save on some RMDs on your taxable income every single year. And average purchaser for these, believe it or not, is right approaching RMD age. As soon as people start thinking about taking their RMDs, maybe there's clients out there that don't need all their RMD, don't want their RMD. Maybe they're taking their RMD and putting it right back into a savings plan on the non-qualified side. This is a topic for you, right? How can we take some of those dollars and push them out to age 85 and save on some RMDs? So it's an excellent tool. And I think it's a timely tool to start talking about towards year end when clients start thinking about RMDs.
Yeah, so we're in fall of 2025 right now. We're talking about QLACs. This might be something you want to bring up to your parents if you have these kind of discussions. If you're somebody in that age group around that 70, 73, maybe even a little older, you can take this all the way up. My understanding is to age 85. We just heard the large sum of money that you can move into that to divert the RMDs. So the question, Scott, it's a loaded question, but I just wanted to get it out in the air. Is this a way in which we totally escape paying RMDs for the rest of our life? We never have to pay an RMD again, as long as this big amount of money we moved into a QLAC sits there. How does that work?
So it's not the IRS is going to get their money one way or another, right? This is a way to, I say, kick the can down the road and save on taxes. The best way to explain it is to give you an example on $1 million, right? $1 million, your RMD is right around $38,000. And by taking this 210 out, you've reduced that that IRA balance down to 790. So 790 at that's going to reduce your RMD by about $9,000, maybe even $10,000. And then you just got to figure out what your tax bracket is and plug in the numbers. But the 790 is now going to be your new reportable number on what you take your RMD on. The 210 actually goes into a product called a delayed income annuity. It's the only product approved by the IRS that you can use as a QLAC. And it looks and it acts like a SPIA, which is a traditional income annuity out there that's been around for hundreds of years. And a delayed income annuity is almost like the oxymoron, a deferred SPIA. So the 210 goes into an annuity. You can pick your payout date at application, so you can delay it as far out to age 85. So 85 is the furthest age you can push out this 210,000 where it's not subject to RMDs. And out at age 85, you're going to get a very large sum of income. And some of these income sums are around 20% of your deposit per year. And it sounds like a lot, but it's an excellent way to maybe supplement a long-term care plan, or maybe supplement an annuity with a long-term care benefit. Because out at age 85, when you're getting these large sums of money, maybe you can use those to address rising healthcare costs, or to supplement that LTC policy to pay for, nursing home care or something like that. So it's almost a twofer. You get to save on RMDs, and you get this large chunk of money out at retirement age. And the what ifs are going to come up, right? What if I pass away? If I pass away as a client that has a QLAC, there's something called a cash refund. So my heirs that are out there, they're going to get back that $210,000 if nothing's been spent. So it's almost a win-win if you don't need that RMD.
Wow, excellent insights, Scott. And this is our bonus session. So, like I said, we're flying fast here, and that's just going to do it today. I appreciate you joining us again, Scott, for this bonus session. And as always, people that are viewing, you know how to get a hold of us. Let's sit down and find out about what your situation is, and maybe we can learn something about each other. I want to go to my final thoughts for today as Scott White exits today. Again, thanks to Scott White and his insights. Two things that we learned today: QLACs and hybrid long-term care. Both something that is a case-by-case situation. Both are great tools to have in our toolbox to deploy the delay, the offset of costs or required taxes due. Both something to carry forward as you talk to your CPA, and it doesn't have to be during tax time. There's an idea, or your advisor. And if you're looking for more advice, you know how to get a hold of us. So those are my final thoughts for today. And as always, have a prosperous day.
You've been listening to the Joe Simon Podcast. Big ideas with powerful stories and real-time solutions. Business succession planning, executive benefits, employee benefits, tax beneficial savings, and more. Remember, information discussed here today is dated and not specific to your situation. Always seek personal counsel from qualified advisors. Joe Simon is a licensed insurance agent in the state of Wisconsin. Licensed to advise on accident and health, life insurance, disability insurance and annuities, as well as qualified long-term care insurance.